In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Caroma P3 electric scooter, which is Caroma's seated scooter that comes in at a very competitive price. I previously reviewed Caroma's P1, which is the P3's little sibling, which is ridiculously fun. So I was pretty excited to try out the P3. I'm going to be going over the assembly process and go in depth on the features and specs. I'm also going to do an acceleration test, a braking test, a hill climb test, a speed accuracy test, and a review on how it rides. So let's get to it. The P3 comes in a much bigger shipping box than a typical scooter, and it is extremely heavy, so make sure to be careful when moving, and if possible, have someone help you move it. After opening, the scooter's assembled about 90%. All you have to do is remove all the packing foam and zip ties, install the handlebars, install the seat, install the front wheel, install the front fender. There's also a removable basket that attaches to the handlebars, including the box with the necessary tools and instruction manual. The whole process took me about 20 minutes, with most of my time being spent cutting off the zip ties. This is a pretty easy scooter to put together, so it shouldn't give you too much grief, regardless of your mechanical skill level. The P3 is powered by a 500 watt brushless rear hub motor that goes up to 20 miles per hour, and a 48 volt 10.4 amp hour lithium ion battery that's stored inside the deck and has a claim range up to 30 miles on a single charge. It also comes with mechanical disc brakes with 180mm rotors both in the front and in the rear, with the left brake activating the front brake and the rear brake controlled by the right lever. The wheels are 20-inch spoked wheels that come with pneumatic tires with a 3-inch width. And to help out with ride comfort, there's also a suspension fork and rear springs located underneath the seat that do a surprisingly good job providing comfort. For safety and increased visibility, there's a headlight that's turned on from the display. Included with the P3 was a front storage bag that can handle items you need to carry around with you. The dashboard has a very simple and clean display design that shows your battery level, power level, and has a speedometer, odometer, and trip meter. The P3 has an overall length of 65 inches, a wheelbase of 43.5 inches, a handlebar height from the ground of 45 inches, a handlebar width of 25 inches, a deck width of 9 inches, deck height from the ground of 11 inches, ground clearance of 7 inches, it weighs in at 66 pounds. At the time of recording, you can pick one up for $430. The first test I wanted to do was to verify the speedometer accuracy of the P3. Okay, so now we're actually testing the speedometer accuracy of the P3. I'm using a speedometer GPS app on my iPhone. So the P3 says it's going 9.4 miles per hour, 9.5 miles per hour, and the app is actually jumping between 9 and 10, so I would say realistically we're doing 9.9 miles per hour, so actually that Caroma is underselling how fast you're going. Okay, so now we're testing speed level 2, which says we're doing 15.9, and the app says we're doing 16, so that's pretty much perfect. All right, now we're checking speed level 3, which taps out at 20 miles per hour. There we go. We are doing 20, and the app says 20. So the speedometer is perfect. For the second test, I want to do the acceleration test so I can check the acceleration to the top speed of 20 miles per hour. Here's how it went. Here we go, testing acceleration to the top speed of 20 miles per hour. Ready? And go. 10, 15, 20. So the P3 went to 0 to 10 miles per hour in 4.4 seconds, 0 to 15 miles per hour in 6 seconds, and to the top speed of 20 miles per hour in 10.1 seconds. And I must say, I was pretty impressed by the acceleration of the scooter. It felt quick and smooth. Caroma claims that the P3 has a max hill climbing ability of 15%. Luckily enough, there's a hill near me that has a 14 to 15% gradient. Here's how it went. Okay, next is the hill climb test, which Caroma says is up to a 15% gradient. Luckily enough, this hill actually starts off at 11% gradient and it goes up to a 15%. So I'm in power level 3. We are starting to get to the very steep part of this hill. going pretty good, doing 9 miles per hour. We've officially hit the steepest part of the hill. Still doing 8.1 miles per hour. Hey, nice, we're powering right up this thing. So there we go. And it officially did a 15% gradient. So as you just saw, the P3 did in fact meet the claimed climbing ability of 15%. It didn't do it at top speed, but it's still pretty impressive. And I think that realistically, it could probably go up a 17% grade. And just for reference, I'm about 175 pounds. Next, I want to test out the braking distance from each of the speed settings. First was from the speed level 1, which is about 9.5 miles per hour, which the P3 did in a comically short 5 feet. Next was from speed level 2, which is about 16 miles per hour, which the scooter stopped in 12.5 feet. And last, but certainly not least, is speed level 3, which is 20 miles per hour, which the P3 stopped in a very impressive 20 feet. Now I do have to say, that I was extremely surprised with the braking power of the P3. These brakes are much more powerful than I was expecting, and more importantly, the scooter stops quickly while staying in a straight line with minimal drama. The last test, and probably the most important one, is the ride comfort test, where I took the P3 on a longer ride through the beautiful Lake Murray located at the center of San Diego. I chose this ride specifically because it's an absolutely beautiful lake that's separated from any car traffic, and it's really relaxing. So while riding around the lake, I was limited on how fast I could go, since there was a lot of other people enjoying the lake as well that day. So after about 5 miles or so, I decided to exit from the lake area and just explore the surrounding neighborhood and really open the P3 up. And I think this is where the P3 really shines, just cruising around at 20 miles per hour with the wind blowing in your face without a care in the world. The P3 handled this ride with ease and was extremely relaxing. The biggest surprise is how smooth the ride was and how well the P3 minimized the vibrations. I was kind of expecting the ride to be harsh, but the combination of the fat tires, comfy seat, and front suspension fork do a really good job of keeping the rider comfortable. So after a little less than 10 miles and being seated for almost an hour, I finished my ride. And I have to say, the P3 performed flawlessly and I had no exhaustion. And other than having a ton of fun, the best part of the P3 is how relaxing it is to ride. There's minimal drama, it handles speed with ease, and is one of the most enjoyable scooters I've ever ridden. So far through my extensive testing, the P3 has held up extremely well to daily use and has been an absolute hoot to ride. The 500-watt brushless rear hub motor is almost silent, is extremely smooth, has very good acceleration. It's able to cruise at the top speed of 20 miles per hour pretty easily and is very comfortable. Both the seat, fork, and fat tires do a great job on keeping the ride smooth. And since this is labeled as a commuting scooter, other than power and comfort, one of the most important things to me is range. So Caroma claims that the P3 in this configuration has the ability to go 30 miles in optimal conditions. And I've ridden a lot of scooters in my lifetime, I've never had a scooter go the advertised range. This is probably due more to my weight, not riding on perfectly level surfaces, and I never ride around the slowest speed setting. And so far in all my testing, the P3 has averaged between 22 and 24 miles of range per charge, which pleasantly surprised me. So I feel that 30 miles might be possible if you're riding in the right conditions, with less hills, and you're lighter than me. And while this scooter is very powerful and smooth, one aspect that excels at is the fun factor. I've ridden a lot of scooters on this channel, and I couldn't believe how much fun this scooter was. When I looked at the P3 initially, I was a little skeptical, but man is it fun. And even though I do like the P3, I do have one critique, and it's that I wish you had the option of unlocking a higher top speed. Realistically, 20 miles per hour is probably more enough for most people. But since the scooter is very stable at 20 miles per hour, I feel that 25 miles per hour would be more fun. Also, I'd love to see a 750 watt version just because more power equals more fun. But as a whole, I'm extremely happy with the Caroma P3 electric scooter, and I recommend it to anyone who wants a scooter but doesn't want to stand, or someone who wants a bike but doesn't want to pedal. So in conclusion, this is one of the best sub $500 scooters I've ever ridden, and I'm very impressed with it, especially for the price. It has a ton of features, it's pretty powerful, has great brakes, and it's just a really fun scooter to ride, and a great addition to my ever-growing fleet of electric scooters. But if you have any questions or own a P3 yourself and want to share your experience, please leave them in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great one.